Now, could you give us an idea of the type of solutions which you've put in place to solve Surf Life Saving Association's problems, whether it's public cloud, private cloud, number of users, whether it's hosted just by yourself, that sort of thing?
We came to the conclusion that the infrastructure would be better hosted by someone else, and at that time private cloud solutions started to come to the fore. So we made a conscious decision after doing an analysis, a cost analysis over 4 years, that a fully private cloud solution would present the best value for money for the organisation. We have that a private cloud solution which is in our vendor's data centre as part of a larger cloud offering to other clients as well. We went into it as a mission critical solution.
What about challenges? Were there any particular challenges that you faced in getting this solution to even to the start line? What were the major problems that you faced during that first stage?
In the service level agreement that we struck with the vendor, we had some specific requirements in terms of legislative requirements, in terms of privacy, backup, prudential and the other things which were addressed by the vendor. And of course, not having ownership of the infrastructure is definitely was our primary concern, but given the service level agreement tasks and items that we had in there, it gave us some comfort, and the other factor was that it's a known IT company within Australia and one of the top 3. It's the service level agreement that you need to strike that covers off all of the requirements that you need to give yourself that commercial and feel good sort of comfort with a fully provided solution from a vendor. I think the technology itself is fairly straightforward, given that the suite of applications that we were implementing were enterprise known suites of applications. However, it can get a bit tricky with the infrastructure when you're implementing non-popular enterprise solutions. We do have a voice recognition service that is part of the suite of the applications, and I suppose technically we had the most trouble there.
Now, when you were selecting those vendors, when you got down to the shortlist, what were the sort of criteria which you used to assess their capabilities and their ability to address the business requirements of the SLSA?
The main one for us is our number of users that we expect to have on the infrastructure over the next 5 years. And in terms of that, we're looking at a user base of around 160,000 users. So it's one of the requirements is that the user base can be accommodated and expanded on the fly.
The big question that CIOs are often asked is, what was the ROI of this IT project? For your cloud solution, which you've put in place over the last year or two, how do you measure the ROI? Or wasn't it important to you in getting this solution in place?
It was primarily cost, and the return on investment that we calculated on was 4-year return on investment in terms of a capital and depreciation comparison, including a 3-year life cycle of the infrastructure, given that after 4 years we would need to replace the infrastructure. So we included those costs as well as the other costs of support, enhancement and maintenance of that infrastructure. There was significant savings for us over the 4-year period. In addition to that, it was also, I suppose, our next most important factor was our ability to support and maintain this infrastructure ourselves.
Now let's talk about the suppliers of the services for a minute. What was the best approach you found to assessing their capability to deliver? Did you put in place criteria around cost first and foremost, or was it about something else for you?
We basically looked at the largest IT providers of cloud solutions in Australia at the time. We wanted to go with an Australian-based solution because we felt it presented less data management risk, but also we felt more comfort with the infrastructure staying in Australia. So that narrowed it down to about 3 or 4 providers. I think the main added value component was the peace of mind of not having to manage the build and implementation of a large suite of infrastructure during a project, that you could essentially scope, sign off on and forget about. The infrastructure delivery meant that my time and my project manager's time wasn't spent organising and building and liaising with a whole range of vendors.
And now, just to finish up, and thank you for your time and patience so far, for the benefit of peer CIOs that might be watching this video, what are the key takeaways you'd ask them to pay attention to as they commence their own cloud journey over the next 12 months?
First one is have the financials sorted out in advance of the project. So for some organisations it may not be the most cost-effective solution. You need to really tie down your service levels and your ability to expand those services, how quickly you can expand those services, and things like the uptime that you require and so on. It's really important to have those things nailed down up front.
And thank you.
Thank you.